Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Governor Andy Beshear visited the mountains on Monday to announce some funding for needed improvements in one county. And one college coach from our area is recovering following some recent health concerns.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 6:32 on Tuesday, August 30th. Let's go over and check in with Brandon. And the morning has flown by, I think.
It has. Trying to catch up with it for a second. Right before the split screen popped up, I was yawning.
Yeah.
I was trying to catch it there. But yes, so it is moving along, and we are glad to see that. Also moving along, some rain chances this morning, and you'll see those on live pinpoint Doppler radar. And they're trying to come into the western half of the area. They're still hanging out in the northern half of the area as well. So be careful if you're traveling up toward Ashland. Let's say from Hazard to Ashland, if you're heading over to Mountain Parkway, past Stanton over that way, back into central Kentucky, and along I-75 there, or 421 back over toward Jackson County. Some heavier rain. UVA-wise, a mix of clouds and some fog over that way this morning. They're in the upper 60s, and you see there visibility 10 miles over there, although it's kind of went offline for just a second. We'll see if it comes up. There it is. Dew point 64. So again, kind of a soupy morning out there in some spots. It is 62 just up the road in Clintwood and 73 in Somerset. They're actually trying to go up just a little bit there as some warmer air tries to push in before that cold front gets here. This afternoon, temperatures top out in the upper 70s, but the rain chances are going to bring them down pretty quickly as we head deeper into the daytime hours. I'll have the rest of the forecast on the way in just a few minutes. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. Well, Governor Andy Beshear visited Louisa on Monday, presenting 4 checks to go toward infrastructure projects in Lawrence County. With school safety, community safety, and clean water on the agenda, students and first responders gathered at the community center for the announcement, celebrating the more than $2.4 million for projects they say are more than needed.
We're going to provide clean drinking water to houses that have never had it. We're going to have safer sidewalks. We're going to have 2 new fire stations.
Governor Beshear says these projects will create strides towards better future for the county and region. The hunt is on for thieves who are making off with ATMs from Southern Kentucky stores. It's not just one crime. Police say the thieves are first stealing trucks or vans, then using them to rip out ATMs from stores in Knox, Whitley, and Laurel counties. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the tremendous cost of the crimes.
It's a big risk on their part. I mean, there's a risk they get nothing.
Keith Pruitt says the gamble a crew of at least 3 people took early Sunday morning did not pay off for them, but his store is stuck with a huge repair bill.
So it was just a wasted effort. There was some damage done to the store. The doors were just basically destroyed, and we had a few other things. The store was a mess. They had Red Bull and everything else all over the floors.
Police say the crew stole a truck from Corbin, then broke the store's glass, tied a chain to the ATM, and ripped it out. They attempted to, but failed to get inside it, and it was all caught on surveillance tape.
The alarm was going off, so they knew they had about 20 minutes to get out of here, and that's what they did. They stayed about 20 minutes and left.
Well, I mean, it's desperate individuals and obviously not much morals and values.
Sheriff Mike Smith says 3 ATMs have been stolen from stores there. In each case, they first stole a truck or a van to start the crime. And at a store in Turkey Creek, they stole a church van.
Taking a church van and then committing other thefts with that van.
Smith says the church van was recovered, but the stolen ATMs have not. Police are looking for at least 3 people, possibly all men. So far, there's been similar reports in 3 Kentucky counties and at least 1 in Tennessee.
But the other stores where they've ripped it out, they've got to take it out and they've got to cut it open. They don't have a clue what's in there. It could be $2 or $20. They normally run in $20 allotments on those machines.
Store managers say that in each case, the thieves caused $15,000 to $25,000 in damages. In Knox and Whitley counties, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The Williamsburg store manager says police were a big help to him in reopening the store Sunday. Family and friends will say goodbye to a Hazard icon and legendary businessman later today. L.D. Gorman died Saturday at the age of 97. He never retired and owned and operated several businesses through the years, including banks, coal mines, and land companies, among others. He was also an avid golfer, University of Kentucky basketball superfan, and counted several celebrities, coaches, and political figures among his friends. His visitation is from noon until his funeral at 2 p.m. at First Baptist Church in Hazard. Before the Beacons of Hope Women's Residential Facility opened its doors on Monday, women seeking residential recovery would have to travel more than 1 hour away to be treated. The facility in Perry County will offer counseling and addiction treatment opportunities, all in the comfort of a residential setting. But the Beacons of Hope mission is not ending with the women's facility. There will also be a men's facility and detox center in the near future.
We know that we have obstacles and there's negative connotations to substance abuse, but we're looking for major positive outcomes with our endeavors here.
Beacons of Hope CEO Barry Martin says this will be a community effort to make this project work, but he is up for the task. Money from Kentucky's opioid settlement could start to come in by April of next year. The Kentucky Opioid Abatement Advisory Committee met again on Monday. The panel is responsible for managing the money from a $483 million settling with drug maker Johnson & Johnson and 3 major distributors. The commission will oversee the state's half of the settlement. That money will go to cities and counties for opioid abuse abatement efforts. Eastern Kentucky University named Gary McPeak the acting head football coach on Monday. The announcement came after head coach Walt Wells suffered a, quote, cardiac episode this weekend. Wells is recovering and is stable at UK Hospital. Samantha Valentino talked to a Lexington doctor about the treatment for a cardiac episode.
EKU says football head coach Walt Wells is hospitalized in stable condition after suffering a cardiac episode at work Sunday morning. VP and director of EKU Athletics Matt Rohn released a statement Sunday night updating the community of Coach Wells' status. Wells has been the head coach at EKU since 2020. Dr. Jeff Fox explains that a cardiac episode could mean a number of things.
The most common thing when you have a catastrophic problem is like an arrhythmia. Now, arrhythmia where the heart doesn't beat right and you have sudden cardiac death. However, there are other arrhythmias. Sometimes people will just feel a little palpitation in their heart. That's not necessarily abnormal, just the palpitation, but continuous arrhythmias that affect the heart's function can be a problem.
A cardiac episode can be unexpected, but there are some things you should watch for.
Chest pain, breathing difficulties, especially with exercise, lightheadedness or dizziness that's really unusual and persist. Those are things that, okay, maybe this could be cardiac.
And Dr. Fox says there's a handful of things that we can do every day to make sure we're keeping our hearts healthy.
Obviously, the best way to control that is diet and exercise, but not everybody can do that. You may have a family history of cholesterol. You may have a family history of heart disease. And if those things are present, you really need to know what your numbers are, what your risk is.
If you don't know what your risk is, you can calculate it online.
You can take your age and your blood pressure. You can put them into a little computer programming that's widely available on the internet. And it's called your cardiac risk profile.
Experts say if your risk number is elevated, you should meet with your doctor.
The EKU football team opens their season at Eastern Michigan on Friday.
It is 6:40 this morning, and we're looking again at some showers and storms that are trying to work their way into the western half of our region. So if you're out near I-75 and just east, be aware of that this morning. Not overall widespread, but getting a little bit stronger there in the western parts of the area. I-75 at Corbin, not looking too bad right there this morning. 72 down that way as we start the day off. 62 Clintwood, 70 Jackson, Moorhead, Pikeville as well, Logan, 72 London, 68 Middlesboro, 68 Manchester, 67 in Harlan. Your emoji cast for today and beyond. Cold front brings chances for showers and storms. We stay in the upper 70s. A pleasant end to August tomorrow on your Wednesday, and then a sunny start to September on Thursday with temperatures rebounding just a little bit. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. And thank you for joining us. The time is 6:41. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. First Lady Jill Biden is on her way back to Washington this morning. We'll tell you why she's been away for a few days.